So now we're going to move on to example 6, where we're again going to be asked to find the vertex, focus, and directrix for y minus 4 equals negative 1 times x minus 1 squared. So again, we want to find our vertex, we want to find our focus, and we want to find our directrix. Same things that we did in the last problem, except we've changed with the type of formula that we're using. This is going to have to be an up or down opening parabola because we start with y. Okay, so for our vertex, we can go ahead and find that the normal way. Our y value is going to be given here, and our x value is going to be given here. So we're going to go to our x first, because x always comes first in a pair. And it's going to be x minus h, so that's going to give us just 1. Okay, 1 is going to be our value, because we take the opposite of whatever this is. Our y is going to be 4, because again, we take the opposite. So we have 1, 4. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Alright, so now we need to find our P so we can find our focus and our directrix. So what we're going to have to do is we have to look at this. Now normally this is going to be 1 over 4P. In this case that equals negative 1. Alright? Well, the numerator is not going to change. That 1 is always just going to be 1. So we know that the denominator for P has got to equal negative 1. So by just doing a little algebra, we're going to have P equals negative 1/4. Okay, so because P is negative, we know that this has to be a down-facing parabola, a down-opening parabola. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up negative 1/4 from the vertex, and that's going to be my directrix. Because you always are going to come from your directrix to whatever direction you're going. Alright? And then I'm going to go down 1/4 to get my focus. It's going to be real close to my vertex. So the parabola is going to look something like this. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to find our focus and our directrix. We're going to do that by taking our P, and it comes down from the directrix. So if you just look at the graph, you can see that it looks like it comes down right here, which it does. Okay, so we can add that 1/4 to this 4 of our y value, and that'll give us our directrix. So our directrix is going to be, and again, it's y equals something when it's on when it's a horizontal line. So it's going to be y equals 4 and 1/4. Okay, kind of weird that it's a fraction like this, but it's a very small p in this case. Alright, and then for our focus, we can move down 1/4 to our focus. So we're going to have, here's our point, so we're going to not change our x value, and we're going to have 3 and 3/4 is going to be our focus, because we moved down 1/4 from our vertex. Alright, and there we go, we have the 3 items, so we can go ahead. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do example 7. So on this one we have to graph the equation and label the vertex, focus, and directrix. Well, we have to do a little bit more work on this one as it's not in standard form and we're not given points. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our squared term on the right side of the equation along with anything that goes with it, like this 8y will go with our y squared, and we'll leave all the just single terms, single exponent like this x, on the left. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the problem as 8x plus 8 equals negative y squared plus 8y. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out this negative from the y and y squared and the 8y, and I'm going to complete the square right here. So I'm going to have 8x plus 8. Now again, our end goal when we're doing this is to get our equation in standard form. So this is going to be just a step towards doing that. So that's going to become a negative 8y plus blank. Alright, now I'm going to have the plus blank on the other side as well. So we're going to have to go here. It's going to be negative 4. That's going to become a 16. But because there's a negative symbol out front, we have to multiply the 16 times the negative. So it's going to be negative 16 over here. Alright, so simplifying this, it's going to be 8x minus 8 equals a negative y minus 4 squared. Alright, well now we need to get this x by itself, so we need to divide everything by 8. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Divide every term by 8. Alright, so we're going to be left with x minus 1 equals a negative 1/8 times y minus 4 squared. Alright, and that looks like we've got it in standard form now, right? Okay, so now we need to pull out our pieces. So our vertex, first, we're going to get from our x and our y in our equation. So we're going to have it be 1, because we take the opposite of this, comma 4, because we have to take the opposite of that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and look at the fact that we know our 4p has got to equal a negative 8, as we've seen before in other problems. Alright, we just took that negative 8 right here, because that 1 is going to be constant. So the negative 8 right here is going to go right here, and it's going to be p equals a negative 8 over 4. So p equals a negative 2. Okay, so now that we know it's a negative 2, we have our x on the right of the equation, right? Because here's our standard equation. Let's just go ahead and box that so we keep that nice and neat. And so we know that it has to open either the right or the left because of the x. Well, the p tells us it's going to open to the left. So let's start graphing. Okay, so we're going to have our v, our vertex is going to be 1, 4. So we're going to go right here. And our p is going to be negative 2. So again, we start at our directrix. So if we're going to go negative, the directrix has got to be on the right. So we're going to go 1, 2 over. And there's our directrix right here. Alright, and so then we can go the other direction. We can go 1, 2 in the other direction, and that's going to be our focus right there. Okay, so we can get our points real quick. We can look at our focus, and that's going to be at negative 1, 4. Which again, it makes sense that our y values are not changing between our vertex and our focus because it's just moving right and left, not up and down. Then we can find our directrix, and we're going to find our directrix by looking at this line right here, which is our directrix, and it's going to be an x equals 3 line. And it has to be x equals 3 because it's a vertical line. All vertical lines are x equals something. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish our graph because it wanted us to graph it. Again, the arms are going to come around the focus and away from the directrix, always. Alright, so now we've graphed the equation, we've labeled the vertex, we've labeled the focus, and we've labeled the directrix. So we have everything we need. Alright, well thanks for watching. The rest of your notes are you try, and we will have the answers up for those.